Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Auntie Jen's 2 Cents. And this one is gonna have to do with going through families' items, their estate, their belongings. As you know, my dad passed away at the beginning of this year, so I've been in charge of going through some of his stuff, his paperwork, and organizing, and just, making sure things are preserved. I've been wanting to do that for so long, but he wouldn't let me touch it. So now I get to preserve all the special things that he's had just stuffed away in his office. And in this process, I came across something that I wanted to share with you. But first, let me tell you, I want to share with you something that I came across and a tip that I have learned, not just from me doing this, but from really everyone that I've been talking to who has dealt with this before. And so that's why this episode is called Check Every Box. Now, this is something I have learned from my own experience, even just from the past year with my dad. First, I was going through some of the stuff in the basement, trying to get some things off the floor because they had flooding problems in their basement. Ugh, yeah, that is the worst thing that you can hear when it comes to research and papers and family heirlooms and all that, is that, stuff is stored in an area where it floods. Oh, gosh. Anyway, so I was working to get some things picked up off the floor, and I found a box that I thought had tons of just old newspapers in it. I said, okay, I'll go through those later, not a problem. And I was just flipping through it and moving it over, and underneath was a whole bunch of photos that I have never seen before, just strewn out everywhere in that box. I've actually done a blog post about this, and I've talked about it in the past as well. So I'm not going to go into too much depth, but yeah, that was the first thing that occurred, that I should check every single box that I come across when it comes to my dad. So anyways, just yesterday, I was over at Mom's, and it was time for the fish fries that they have every single year out here in St. Louis. All the Catholic churches and other denominations, that's one of their biggest fundraisers during Lent, is having their own fish fries. So I was over at Mom's having dinner, and we were just talking about some things, and she was giving me some of Dad's jewelry that he'd had so I could, preserve it and keep it safe. And one of them was his wedding ring. We didn't want to bury him with his wedding ring. We wanted to keep it in the family. So Mom gave me, the box. She knew exactly where he kept it for safekeepings, and with him and his health and his hands swelling and everything, he wasn't able to wear it. And in his line of work and construction, he was never able to wear it anyways. So it was really saved for special occasions. And so that's my dad's wedding ring. And I know if you look at it, it's pretty big to begin with. It's like a size 13. And you're thinking, that wouldn't fit him. Yeah, you wouldn't believe how much his body had swelled up in the last year of his life. So yes, that's his wedding ring, which I will keep very safe. But that's not what I really wanted to show you today. There's something else. As you know, it came inside this box, and look at the bottom down there. I saw that and I was like, what is that? It's the original receipt. Can you believe it? So as I was looking in this box last night, I found there are 2 receipts. And of course, the first one that I opened was for Dad's wedding ring. It was the purchase receipt for his wedding ring. They got it from Zales. And, you're thinking, okay, what's the big deal about a receipt? Well, yeah, I get to learn the original cost of the ring, which is not a big deal to me. But on this particular receipt, there is a layaway receipt. So, you can put money aside and everything. And on this receipt has important information. The date that it was purchased, which coincides when they got married, but also the address of my mom at the time, her phone number, because she's the one who purchased this. and of course the size of the ring. So yeah, I do know it is a size 13, but it does, and it shows where she got this from. And again, it has important information. Yeah, that's information that really Mom could not recall from that time. I mean, yeah, some people have a phone number for their whole lives. I mean, my parents have the same phone number that they've had ever since they moved into this house from the 80s. And so, yeah, I remember that phone number. But this is one that they, only had for a short time. And so they wouldn't have remembered this. And then their mailing address, and even though they lived together, there was still another address on here of where my mom used to live. So yeah, this is actually, very helpful information. And you know what? We're not done. We've got another one. And I'm like, well, what would this one be? We already have the receipt for the ring. This is the receipt for my mom's wedding set that my dad purchased for her. And again, it has the address, the phone number, but it also has the date. And you're thinking, what's the big deal about that? That date gives me an idea of when they got engaged. Mom said she couldn't remember the exact date because they'd been together for so many years, and it was just all of a sudden, here you go. And she thought they got engaged right at Christmas of the year, but she couldn't remember the year because I have a photo of her with the ring around Christmas. And the date on here that this was purchased was 12/16/1978. So yeah, it was around Christmas, and the year was 78. So, you never know what you're gonna find inside any boxes that you have. I mean, I didn't even think about it. I was just like, okay, there's the ring box, pull that out, okay, no big deal. And then you look in the bottom and there's papers and it's receipts. Oh my gosh. So don't discredit anything. Don't just toss it aside and say, okay, I shake it, there's nothing in there. Open up every box. I've heard stories actually from some other friends, acquaintances online, that they were also in charge of going through their family member's house after they had passed, and they came across sewing boxes, books, other items where at first they just kind of picked it up, shook it, nothing there, no weight to it, nothing, and they open it up and they find money, they find papers. Other things I've heard were sewing boxes where they found wedding rings. You never know where people are going to hide special things that were in their life, especially if they came down with Alzheimer's or dementia. They will put things just about everywhere or anywhere. You never know. And, sometimes people drop things and don't mean to, or they put something somewhere just for, something quick, and then come back and forget where they put it. You just never know. And with my dad being the hoarder that he was, he just shoved crap everywhere. I mean, I'm not kidding. I have found, important papers shoved in with bills, photos shoved in with random, items. And, the one thing I didn't even think about was checking inside of books. That was a great tip that was given to me. So I'm passing this tip along to you today to check inside every box that you come along, because it sure has proved fruitful for me. So anyway, that's my 2 cents. Happy hunting.